Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Lotus with Lotus Lindley, Art of Sacred Embodiment. I wanted to make a video today in response to a question that I got on one of my posts on Facebook. And it had to do with the ascension process, the collapsing of old timelines, and realigning into new timelines. So I'm going to make this fairly brief because I actually have larger bodies of information about this if anybody is feeling called to learn a little bit more details. But let's just kind of dive into what I was referring to when I made this post. So, briefly, when we have what are timelines? Timelines are streams of consciousness, streams of memory. We could say chapters in our life or books in our life where we have a thread of an existence that has been familiar. And then when things change up, maybe radically or even subtly, we recognize that the life that we're living has shifted and we're in a new timeline. Okay, so we're in a new experience, a new frame of consciousness, a new stream. So past timelines, old timelines are basically when we've deposited parts of ourselves, energies of ourselves in past events or in past chapters, but they're still affecting us. Our beliefs, our emotions, our patterns may stem from those past timelines in the present. And in this time, particularly right now, 2020 is really all about coming present and dropping everything that does not serve us any longer. So when we talk about collapsing timelines or closing out timelines, what I'm referring to is that stream of consciousness from the past falls away. It's done. There's closure. It's no longer operating or has any governing input on our present life anymore, because the emotions have been neutralized. The memories may still be there in our memory bank, but they don't hold any emotional charge anymore. This can go for positive or negative experiences. Oftentimes, we think about it though for things that have been, traumatic or emotionally impactful that have connected with our own wound or shadow. So, so as the energies increase on the planet, and right now we're just coming into June, 2020, and we are in the beginning of eclipse season. We've got a full moon, I believe, coming up as well. That's also going to be an eclipse, and we entered this eclipse um, portal, at the end of May. So many people are experiencing dramatic clearings, releasing things that they were carrying, their baggage now is being dropped. This is happening with a lot more ease and grace because the energies are assisting, the higher frequencies as they enter into our planet, to our system. The dense stories and energies don't have the same power and hold as they used to. So this can happen a lot more efficiently. And if you are on the ascension trajectory, meaning you are consciously doing the work, you are consciously making the choices to align yourself with your highest levels in the multi-dimensional arena, right? The multi-dimensional realms, um, and surrendering all that no longer serves you, then you're probably going to be feeling this a lot quicker. You're going to be feeling the rising of whatever those stories or wounds were, maybe even good memories sort of rising up to the surface with the full on emotional elements and memories, and then they're going to be cleared. So, the way that I have been referring to it for myself over the last 2 weeks is that, at the end of last week, I felt like I was left in this eternal sunshine on a spotless mind place where I was I was present. I was in the 0 point, the spacious heart now moment. Even the things that I had been, so for me personally, I cleared a 39-year timeline, and then a year/16-year timeline of my husband and I. We've been separated for a year last week. And, um, and although we're great friends, there's still been a lot of transitioning. And there was this last year anniversary of that just broke away. So there was a couple really rough days, a lot of emotion from this 39 year in particular. And as that started collapsing, um, I couldn't really even retrieve the memories anymore um, from that 39-year phase, chapter, story. And even though I'd been working very consciously with them over the last 2 years or so. So I'd cleared all of it. And so it's brought me into much more of my present day reality now, who I am now, those qualities of being, those patterns, those beliefs, those stories, they're not holding any relevance or sway. And oftentimes, for the human aspect of us, we are very conditioned to be attached to emotion. That's another topic. But oftentimes, as our past clears and we come into these phases of neutrality, spaciousness, presentness in larger spans of time, meaning it is becoming the new norm of how we are relating to reality, our life, ourselves. There can be grief and loss of the emotional component. And that can be, even if it was painful and negative, there's still a part of us that um, might feel like any emotion is better than this sort of no emotion. As we first step into really recognizing and consciously connecting with the timeline collapses and the spaces that are left, the void spaces where all of those feelings and beliefs and um, selves, right, lower aspects. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean those levels of consciousness where we're no longer operating at. When those are no longer in our physical or energetic uh, realms, it can feel like a void. We can feel depressed. We can feel numb. The emptiness can feel like we need to fill it right away. Don't fill it. Don't fill the space. We want to become accustomed to operating in the present moment, which oftentimes will have a very different quality to it than when we're operating with a lot of past information and mind stuff that we're not even aware of often, or energies in our bodies that tether us to what was. Because now what's happened is when those timelines collapse, we're retrieving those parts of ourselves, we're integrating into more of a wholeness of who we truly are. So that's the timelines, that's the ascension piece. And so the alignment piece um, is we're not talking about filling the space, but ascension is all about our evolutionary process of continuous awakening, expansion, coming into the truth of who we are as spiritual, multi-dimensional beings beyond our humanness, and that we operate on multi-dimensional levels. So when we talk about aligning and realigning, every time we clear a past timeline, we have this opportunity to step into what our next highest, and we get to choose, right? Consciously. Please align me with my next highest expression of what is right and true for me in this now moment. And who are we asking? We're asking our own highest self. We're asking our own soul. We're asking those aspects of us that are guiding us through the ascension process. And we are saying, yes, we are giving our consent, and we are consciously saying, I am willing to align with whatever is right and true for me as I access the next level higher frequencies, meaning consciousness, meaning energy, meaning selves, aspects of ourselves, um, that I can access at this time based on the frequencies, meaning light, force, energy that I can hold, meaning holding in my body, in my heart, which creates the realities that I'm able to begin to co-create out of divine alignment. So, aligning means that we start to pay attention to exactly what's calling us forward, and we start to say yes, that we continue to let go of what is not going to bring us the highest level of joy, of peace, of service, of love, of compassion, of truth. Okay. So we are consistently on the ascension process, up leveling ourselves. And how quick we do this is very dependent on each of us and how used we are to this process, riding these waves, how quickly we clear, how quickly we integrate, how much light we're able to absorb and then integrate into our system, meaning how much new, expanded, awakened consciousness are we able to say yes to, even if it flies in the face of everything that we've known in the past. And it also means that we're listening inside of ourselves, and we are learning what our truth is based on our ability to ground and center into our own sacred center and our own sacred foundation. So in the post, I said that, we have these ample opportunities to keep releasing collapsed timelines and continuously refine and realign, excuse me, with these next level higher truths. So this is a dance. This is a life. This is a life. It's kind of weird to say it's a lifestyle, but it's kind of a lifestyle. It is a path of how those choosing the ascension trajectory and process live. It is the life that we live. It is a life for the majority of us in a growing numbers of embodiment, meaning we are embodying new realities at higher dimensional frequency and understandings. We're moving out of the consciousness and the constructs of the paradigms that have been, that were at one time very lodged into the third dimensional paradigms of polarity and duality and right and wrong and good and bad. Um, and we're coming into a unification. We're moving from the lower centers into operating from the higher centers. So that is in a nutshell um, what my post was referring to. I actually have a course that is coming up starting this Friday for the eclipse, June 6th, and it is called The Four Sacred Keys of Ascension. And it is 4 weeks of pre-recorded videos that take us through the very practical how-tos on the ascension embodiment process in a way that is digestible and with exercises that support the experiential understanding to empower those who feel called to work consciously with their own ascension journey, to know how to navigate a lot of these steps and stages. So the first level is, how do we learn, and what are the benefits, and what are some of the nuances within the ascension um, perception, or the ascension aspects that I work with and teach, um, that come from the sacred centering and the sacred foundation. We have to have a foundation that is stable. We have to know how to continuously stabilize ourselves because things are moving very quickly. The second level is all about self-acceptance, self-love, and self-honor. Um, we cannot get to the higher levels out of these paradigms that we've been locked into until we come into self-love. And we cannot love others until we love ourselves. So it is a foundational step. So we go into great depth about this, exercises to really come home to ourselves, to begin to remember our divinity. And this is what the ascension process also is about, our own holiness. And we have to come into self-love and self-honor before we can really know that experientially and embody it. The third level is divine aligning. And we cannot align with our highest good if we don't know how to love ourselves. Because everything that inhibits us from loving ourselves is based on self-rejection and self-negation. So to align with everything that serves us and celebrates us will be almost impossible to access if we are still practicing self-rejection. So divine aligning is something that will take us into our co-creator power. That will lead us to activating our divine blueprint. We have to be in full alignment. And this is not a one-time thing. All of this is a continuous process through this entire journey. But this is the foundational how-tos that will give you your own expression and your own inner teachings um, to support your journey. So activating your divine blueprint is who are you really? What are you really here for? Our human mind has very limited perception of this. Our soul has inklings. Our highest self gives us clues. But until we are in alignment and realigning so that we can activate the codes of our divine blueprint, those potentials that are already written. They're waiting for us on the higher dimensional realities for us to bring down and express and actualize on this plane. So these four sacred keys, um, they're awesome, right? They're empowering. They teach you how to dance with this process of our spiritual evolution. And our spiritual evolution is about moving from only the human awareness into our fuller, multi-dimensional holy wholeness, as I call it, that embodies and imbues all of the higher qualities and aspects that express through divinity and higher light and love. So I'm going to just end this right here. And I hope that this is helpful, particularly for those of you who sent out the question if I would make a video. And yes, I love doing this. I love knowing what questions you have. Sometimes it might take me a minute to get to it, but I hope that this has been supportive. And if you are interested in the four keys of sacred, the four sacred keys of ascension, you can email me at lotus at artofsacredembodiment.net or go to my website, lotuslindley.net, and go to the blog post for Sacred Keys of Ascension, and all the information is there. Or you can access it on Facebook, on my personal page, under or just in the event page of Four Sacred Keys of Embodiment, and all of the information is there. So it begins Friday, this Friday. Registration is due Thursday. And you get the four pre-recorded videos. You can work with the exercises. You can return to them. All of the videos have light language activations to support really amplifying the information in your system and in your cells. After the first two videos, we're going to have a group call for questions, for sharing experiences, for going a little bit deeper based on what you all bring to the group live call. And then after the last class, after activating your divine blueprint, we will have another group call. So all of this is going to take us through June. And I hope you can join us. And it's a sliding scale. So again, go to the information, look at the details, see if it's aligned for you, if it calls to you. And if so, I would love to have you join us. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely day, and we shall talk again soon.